You are not weird. You are exhausted from noticing everything. You notice the pause before someone answers. You notice the smile that feels a little too forced. You notice when a message sounds colder than usual, even if the words look normal. And because your mind catches all of it, you start blaming yourself. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I overthink everything. Maybe something is wrong with me. But what if the thing you keep calling weird is actually the way your mind protects you, studies the world, and tries to understand what other people ignore? Stay with this, because by the end, you may realize that the habit you have been ashamed of is not proof that you are broken. It may be proof that your mind has been working too hard for too long. Picture this. It is late at night. Your room is quiet. Your phone is beside you, face down, but your brain is still awake. You are staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation from earlier. Someone said, "It's fine," but the way they said it did not feel fine. So now your mind searches through every detail, their tone, their face, the space between their words, the message they sent after, the message they did not send. To other people, the moment is over. To you, it is still alive. This is where deep thinkers begin to feel different. Not because they want to be complicated, but because their mind does not simply pass through life. It absorbs life. It collects emotional signals. It turns small moments into questions. And here is the first quiet truth. The mind that notices everything often suffers silently because it cannot always explain what it noticed. The first habit is talking to yourself when no one is around. At first, it may feel embarrassing, but talking to yourself can be a way of giving shape to thoughts that are too crowded to stay silent. When your mind is full, language becomes a shelf. You take one thought out, look at it, name it, and place it somewhere. That does not make you strange. It means your brain is trying to organize the weight it has been carrying. But there is a catch. The same habit that helps you understand yourself can also trap you inside imaginary conversations that never end. And that is where deep thinking can slowly become self-punishment. The second habit is needing silence after being around people. Not because you are cold, because you are reading everything. For some people, socializing is just speaking. For you, it can feel like translating a room full of invisible emotions. So when you finally get home, silence feels like oxygen. Not loneliness, not rejection, oxygen. This is one of the loneliest parts of having a deep mind. People often see your withdrawal, but they do not see the emotional noise you are trying to recover from. Not in a dramatic way, just slightly. Their replies get shorter. Their voice loses warmth. Their eyes look somewhere else. They say they are okay, but your body does not believe them. And then your mind starts building a map. Did I do something? Are they upset? Are they leaving? Am I imagining it? Here is the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes you are right. Sometimes your sensitivity catches what others miss. But sometimes, your past is speaking louder than the present. If you grew up having to notice moods to feel safe, your mind may have learned to scan people quickly. A quiet room was never just a quiet room. A changed tone was never just a changed tone. It was information. That does not make you weak. It means your nervous system became intelligent in order to survive. But survival intelligence is not always peace. And this is the part that matters. Noticing everything is a gift only when you are not using it to accuse yourself. You can do small talk. You can smile. You can say, "That's nice." And yeah, totally. But inside, something begins to fade. You do not just want updates. You want honesty. You do not just want noise. You want meaning. You want someone to stop performing for 1 minute and say what they really feel. That is why you can feel lonely in a full room. Not because nobody is there, but because very few people reach the place where your mind actually lives. You may have learned to hide that depth, to not ask the intense question, to not make the room uncomfortable with your honesty. But somewhere inside, you are starving for a conversation that does not stay on the surface. You remember the sentence that sounded awkward, the joke that did not land, the moment you shared too much, the message you should have written differently. Your mind tells you it is trying to help. If we study this enough, we will never make the same mistake again. If we remember the pain, we can avoid it next time. If we understand every detail, we can finally become safe. But listen carefully. A deep mind can turn memory into a courtroom. And when that happens, you become both the person on trial and the judge who never rests. This is the twist. Maybe you are not weird because you think deeply. Maybe you are tired because your mind learned to confuse understanding with control. You think if you understand every look, every silence, every mistake, every possible meaning, you can stop yourself from being hurt. But life does not become safe just because you analyze it perfectly. Sometimes, peace begins when you let a moment be unfinished. When you let a text be just a text. When you let someone's mood belong to them. When you let one awkward memory stay in the past instead of dragging it into bed every night. That does not mean you should stop being thoughtful. Your depth is not the enemy. Your sensitivity is not the problem. Your ability to notice small things can make you compassionate, creative, intuitive, and deeply human. But your mind deserves boundaries too. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can say to yourself is, I noticed it, but I do not have to solve it right now. If you talk to yourself, let it become comfort, not punishment. If you need silence, take it without guilt. You are not here just to understand life. You are here to live it. So tonight, if your mind starts opening every old conversation again, try something small. Put one hand on your chest, breathe slowly, name what is happening. My mind is trying to protect me, but I am allowed to rest. You are not weird. You are not broken. You are not too much. You may simply be someone whose inner world became deep because life taught you to pay attention. And now, slowly, you can teach that mind something new. Not every detail is danger. Not every silence is rejection. Not every mistake is identity. Some things are just moments, and you are allowed to pass through them without carrying all of them home. If this made you feel a little less alone, stay with empty but aware. Because sometimes, healing begins when you stop calling yourself strange and start understanding why your mind learned to work this way. Start there,